Welcome back. It's such a lovely day outside that it's time for an adventure. Of course, I'm far too lazy to actually go outside, so I'll do it vicariously through Maiden Abyss. What could go wrong? Travelling ever further deeper into, well, the grand hole that is the Abyss itself, getting to points where we can only imagine what comes up. Those that have seen the manga, know the source material, probably are holding your breaths with anticipation. Fortunately, that's all fresh to me, so am I going to be ready for it? Let's find out. Some of the backgrounds and landscapes of Maiden Abyss that we've seen so far are just amazing. Yeah, in part because of how they're made and it's how it's so painterly. Also, just because so much effort has been put into understanding why things would be this way. Good reactions. There's a sinkhole filled with crystals. Now you have to be careful about everywhere you step. Even if she dashes off again. Even if she was. But as we're going further along in the story and seeing the wounds that Rika's has suffered still there, stories of her entire journey. Some that we may not want to remember, like the arm. And seeing the world as it is. Also, the dual story beats of this opening. Seeing the previous expedition, seeing them travel in the same places. And seeing a couple of characters that are somewhat reminiscent of things that we know. How soon in the story will we be coming across them? Capital of the Unreturned. Do they have to actually figure out? Okay. I was about to say, do they actually have to figure out a place for shelter? This is a kind of mostly unexplored place. At least not much has pre-known been sent to them before. Yeah, actually figuring out a good routine, a good party arrangement to figure out where they will go to keep them safe. I mean, some of the white whistles that you've seen and met already. Hmm. That is an interesting design. Okay. And six-legged winged dragon with a curled tail like that. I mean, look at the size of it. And then you got these things. So they're the cattle of this layer. Eggs? And that one looks like it's about to hatch. So... Excuse me? Here I was about to say something about the relic-looking things on the back of... At the end of the episode, it turns out to be the eggs of these docile creatures. Hopefully this isn't a regular occurrence, because... Oh, it might be a regular occurrence if there's that many. Why is there this sort of attack right now? There wasn't like scorch marks in the landscape before. That was my point. Ever the optimist, you can't bring down her spirit. Now, how do you cook them? I mean, you don't want to catch parasites or anything from drinking the water. Anything down here could be... Might need to cook it a bit longer. I mean, yeah, why would you go for the nearly developed... I mean, if anyone's gonna do it, it would be Reg. Yummy! It's got a slightly wriggly texture. Without saying how it is, just try it yourself. Huh? I see. You're making some... It's still twitching! To be fair, fried and crispy is probably a better way of enjoying it. A little off-putting, though. Surprisingly good. I see the use of utensils is lost on her now. It was so good you can't help dig your face in. Now, where would she have that memory? How would you get it? Was it sent up in a balloon? I mean, the fact that Leader looks a bit odd, not quite how I remember him. The fact that after this journey so far and how far they've came, they still remember the ones back in the orphanage. I mean, how easy is it from down here to actually get a balloon, to get letters and whatnot back up without it being taken down by any of the other wildlife? What would they do even if... Even if they could make it down here to take Nachi away? Some questions that they may never know. But if you believe that it will reach them. I mean, if it was a place where... maybe not. Well, it was fun while it lasted. It's all a learning experience. You found out for now. Better to know losing a little male balloon than to try using it to fend off an attack or something. And realising, the repellent doesn't work. And he's off in the shadows. Keeping himself warm. The They got a response. Oh. Not what I thought. So, the eyes we saw in the distance. Crying isn't exactly going to help, but when there's something like this happening and your white whistle and Pruska disappears... Oh, it's using, red iron fat. If they're good enough to track them down, there's no point giving up. Constantly moving ever downwards. To be fair, a robot turned bloodhound. Huh? What are those? Is it lunch? Is it sewed up? Mmm. Gotta get that stuffing out of there. Hair? What the hell? There's some missing follicles and whatnot shoved up the anal passage of a wild beast. Excuse me? I mean, there's gotta be better ways of fermenting stuff, but... how easy is it going to be to track the scent now? And how much are they going to want to if it wasn't for Pruska missing? Someone that comes in, collects a few hair samples. But I was about to say how big they are. We don't have a scale to go by. I mean, if it was, they managed to sneak in with that wide of a gate. I do love the light scattering down here in the 6th layer. After everything that we've seen so far, where is this light emanating from? We've seen how dark it is in some of the upper ones, and it's separated by like layers of sea and whatnot. How long would it have taken to build this bridge? The upside down person, the one that was on the drawing. I mean, did he have to get so close just to say? Yeah, he probably did. To be fair, it does seem like a relatively well-fortified place to be. One entrance in, one entrance out. Above and below, both heavily dangerous. At least it's quite stable. Susosa. Keep going, don't make any sudden movements. Yeah, you don't want to be caught out on the bridge. To be fair, you probably don't want to be caught out in there either, because there's nowhere to really... A barrier so even the smoke couldn't get through? Some interesting things right now. Is he going to blast it or at least touch it first? See if it's tangible. No hesitation. Is it anyone gonna tell him? I think we need to give I've forgotten its name. I think we need to give it a medal. Creepy trophies. I mean, someone's got a weird sense of interior decoration, at least. Are they still inside the tower? Are these the remnants of people who have tried to go back up? Since there's so many unique designs. We're playing a fleshy version of Horizon Zero Dawn. They don't quite have a translator for these the situation. Magikaja. A skilled one is doing the stone. I mean, as a first greeting, as a introduction to this place. So, what, it's not just the going up and down the layers now. There's also certain areas within a boundary that they can't even leave. The fluidity of these goopy, outstretched tendrils. I like it. Someone's put in a lot of effort to animate this. But the constant struggle of losing one's humanity, losing their form. Seen that one. Hopefully there's no more eggs and stuff that need boiling. Well, since we'll be travelling into Hollow Nest soon, should be plenty to see. And with Pruska going on a little journey herself. Surprised that she wanted to stray away from Rico and the others, to be fair. Coming against this collective, this village of a very diverse crowd, at least put it that way. Still, I'm sure there must be a reason as for the hair theft. Can't think of a good one, but there must be a reason. But ending song, lovely. The opening visuals, a lot going on. Some bits and pieces that I don't quite understand. Some characters we hadn't yet met, but I'm pretty sure we've now seen some. Knowing that the journey was already dangerous enough now at any step along the way. The things that they did know before no longer worked, no repellent. The maps they have are no longer useful. Nothing really stretched down this far. They are cut off. Still, finding a fresh bit of gourmet food. Going to test it first each time to see if it's actually edible. Good thing Reg's here. Trial and error might not be the best course of action when you're exploring a place like this. But don't we all love Maid in Abyss? So far, first episode in, questionable moments getting us into it. Seeing the story play out in tandem with what we're experiencing, and now stumbling across this other village with an odd sense of decorations. Not having the best first encounter with anything, knowing that they can sneak through your defences, any sort of perimeter that you've set up. And by the end of this, is Rico going to stay entirely human? I mean, so many chances across this way where things could go wrong. There's no turning back. Now there's no turning back from certain places. At least she's taking it all in her stride. Apart from Pruska going missing, she's relatively upbeat about the entire situation. Don't worry, we've got no food or real shelter. Lost. Just we know we need to head down. Terrifying monstrosities on all sides. But hey, it looks nice. So many new things to see. The call of adventure is one that really is nipping at her sides, isn't it? Seeing the environment now, seeing the little nooks and crannies for them to hide in, the architecture, the brickwork. What was all this before the event which caused the entire crumbling, the bits and pieces floating? Were they floating, or were they just hanging there from odd proportions and like... Anyway. But we know the artifacts and the like that are being found from the abyss, being brought back to the surface. The civilizations that were here before. I love that mystery. You know, what the hell is going on? What is the abyss? Why does it emanate here? Why is it so mysterious? What's the curse? All of which I don't actually want an answer for. The unknown is always more interesting. But of course, stepping out into this adventure, second episode in, and coming across some new faces. And also we can extrapolate a bit of data, not so new faces. I am trembling with excitement. As long as they don't get into any major trouble right now. Of course, the village didn't attack on sight. They came up with a sort of ambassador starting to talk to them. Granted, it wasn't particularly a good conversation to begin with. Where is this going to go? We might find out. If you're willing to, perhaps stick around. Let me know down below what you thought. Maybe leave a like in the video, consider sharing it around, or even subscribing to see more. Maid in Abyss is one hell of a show. I'm not going to stop anytime soon. I want to see a lot more. So get yourselves a bit of rest. Hopefully a little more secure than what we've seen. But I'll see you in the next one. While I do need a haircut, I don't think I'm going to be taking any advice from Made in Abyss. Now, I'm sure fashion does change across the ages, but I do have certain standards. I know it might not look like it, but just like the journey here that we are witnessing, I wouldn't have made it this far if it wasn't for all of my patrons. So I do need to thank Electricant, Noku, Raywin, Kite, Sal, Arthea, Dark Shadow 7899, Shiwan, Mats, Girly, Cardboard, Croyville, Megu42, and everyone else. Although, thanks to all of you being here, people are less likely to look at me and think that I'm trying to start a village of misfits as well.